Okay, we're going to start with Rube and then go to John McMullen.
Nick Sirianni Live, presented by Premier Orthopedic.
Sorry about
All right,
that,
let's
Rube.
try this again. We'll kick it off with
Nick Sirianni Live, presented by Premier Orthopedic.
How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, in practice, obviously, you and in walkthrough and in meetings and in prep for it. It's always about the daily process and the weekly process to go about doing that. We got to do our jobs as coaches to help put them in positions for that, and then we have to execute when we have those opportunities.
we'll go to John and then Brooks.
Hey, Nick, a lot of blitzing yesterday from Spags, which I assume you're always ready for, but that was even a little bit more based on his history. When you watch the film, how do you think it went? How do you think you guys handled it?
Yeah, we were able to do some good things with it. I felt like in the run game we were able to handle some of the things where they were all over the coming from different spots, this and that. And I thought Jalen did a really good job getting the ball out of his hand in those scenarios. Also, we were able to hit against Blitz Zero. It hit the big play to Smitty on that third down, and also there was a couple other ones that he got the ball out of his hands very quickly. Our offensive line and our backs, I thought, sometimes when you're in a protection and they bring one. Sorry, guys, I'm feeling a little under the weather, so if I apologize. But when you see a team bring one more than you can handle in certain situations, that's what's going to be important, and you get the ball out of your hands. And Jalen did a really good job of that. And then the other thing there that was very obvious was you have one free runner sometimes, but sometimes, like when that happens, if everyone else is one-on-one. And I thought our guys did a really good job of keeping it firm. So, Jalen just had to beat the free runner, right? And that was our backs and our offensive line. It was both of them. Our offensive line did a really good job there of, now the ball's coming out quick on a lot of those, but they did a really good job of keeping it firm, and the backs, stepping up and protecting. I thought we made improvements on that from the week before, particularly with our backs. So, I thought that we handled some, obviously you're always going to want to play back here, play back there. But I thought we did a really good job as far as picking that stuff up, throwing high, the whole operation. I thought against when they brought one more than what we could protect.
Thanks, Nick.
We'll go to Brooks and then Ed.
Hey, Nick, you addressed your offensive tendencies last week, going into this week, and pistol and under center still 90% run, and then shotgun overwhelmingly pass. Why do you think that was for a second week? And is that something we're going to mix up in the future?
Yeah, again, I think we don't look at that in the sense of first, second, third down all throughout the game, right? Meaning, what do I mean by that? Like, you break that down by, first and pass, second and pass, or pardon me, first down, second and pass, second and run. You separate third down and, because that's a different category, you separate 3rd and 1 from 3rd and 7 plus or whatever it is, because, those numbers, if you look at them as a whole, they're going to get skewed. Now, again, I haven't looked at our self-scout following last night yet. That's something that's later, a little bit later in our process for the week, to make sure, once the plan's in, then talking about that. But you can't look at that number as a whole for it to tell the entire story. For instance, of course, on the quarterback sneak play, we're under center running the football. So those numbers are going to get skewed in those areas. In 2-minute offense, you're going to be in the gun a lot of times throwing the football. So again, you can't look at them as here is the game and here is what those numbers say. You got to break it down. Your tendencies, that what we do is break it down into situations. And I'm not giving you guys anything really at the end of the day, because every coach does that I'm worried about getting out there, because every coach does the same thing there in that manner. So we're constantly looking at our self-scout. We're constantly making sure that we're not giving anything away to the defense. Now, that we're not giving anything away to defense, but there are times that you're going to have tendencies. You do your best to put a seed of doubt into the defense's mind, to break tendencies. But, a lot of teams, good teams have tendencies. But that doesn't mean you don't fight like crazy to fight them and to again, put seeds of doubt in the defense's mind of what you're doing. Because you never want them to have a run pass key. It's just not, when you look at it at the big picture, as far as every play, that's not how we look at it as coaches, and you kind of got to break it down a little bit further into it.
We'll go to Ed and then Olivia.
Yeah. Hi, Nick. Hope you feel better soon there.
Thank you, brother.
I just want to ask you about the explosive plays again. It seemed like last year that was an area that seemed to get a little better as the season went on. Is it just something that, needs time to breathe, for lack of a better term, something that needs to be worked on more and more as the season goes on, do you think? If you know what I mean?
I think that's the case with everything, to be honest with you. It's tackling, that's block destruction, that's, taking care of the football, all those different things. And this is no different. You get better as the season goes along, and so does the defense, though. So it's all relative there. It's just, you're looking at, when you come off of a game, you look at what you did well, what you didn't do well, right? I think we've been very efficient moving the ball forward as an offense. Now, it's hard to consistently inch your way down the field, or, with that. So you want to hit explosives, you got to hit explosives. And that's something, they come in all different shapes. So like, I say that with not the intent of giving anything away, because I don't think I will on that. Sometimes it's over the top. Sometimes it's intermediate. Sometimes it's short. Sometimes it's in the run game. Sometimes it's in the screen game. And there's different reasons of, why why we had this many or why we had that many. So, but we understand that to be what you want to be on offense, we have to be more explosive. And we got to, it starts with us as coaches, putting them in positions to succeed, different ways. And, then obviously the players always have to go out and execute. And I trust our players fully, because I know we got really good players. I trust our coaches fully. I know we got really good coaches. So that's an element that we have to improve, because you're always looking to win the explosive play battle. In the last 2 weeks, we haven't won it. So, but we've protected the football. And so again, we got to get better at that phase of our game. And I have no doubt we have some great thoughts to be able to do that. Obviously won't share those here. And I know our team's constantly in this. Our team, what I love about our team is we're constantly in self-critical mode. open to everything, and only for the attempts to get better. And that's an area that we can get better at.
We'll go to Olivia and then Elliot.
Hey Nick, you've only had Zadarius Smith for one game, but he made an impact both on the field and also seemed like he brought a lot of energy on the sideline. What have been your impressions of him just in general over the past week and a half or so, and what role do you hope to see him eventually, play on this team, both on the field and sort of off the field too?
Yeah, he's really heavy-handed. Can win with power, can win with speed, quick. It's been fun being around him for a week. So looking forward to him continuing to develop his role on this football team. Time will still tell. I think, I love his energy, and he loves playing football. You love that about him. I think what you could really tell on the tape yesterday, and you could tell on the field, was how much energy we had as a football team. I always think that, the energy you have as a football team, are coming off the plays that you make, but it's also, you're celebrating the success of your teammate and the team. And so I always look for that, what the energy looks like. And, whether it was, a big play on defense, big play on offense, whatever it may have been, there was a lot of energy on that sideline because guys were genuinely happy for each other, that they were making plays, all for the team success and for the joy of their teammate, which was cool.
We'll go to Elliot and then Jeff McClain.
Nick, when you guys promoted Kevin Patullo to offensive coordinator, one thing you and the players talked about was the excitement of continuity, of him being in the building. Now that you're a few games in, how have you seen the benefits of that continuity when it comes to the offense?
Yeah, just the knowledge of the players, the ability to have conversations, and the connection he has with those guys. Again, communication is so key because you're just constantly trying to work to get better, and he's got great open communication with all positions on offense, and I think you see it in situational football. That might not be as obvious to you guys, but what we want to do in certain situations, you're way out in front of, and so that continuity in that aspect, knowing what the players do well, trying to emphasize what the players do well, and finding a way to win. I guess what we've been able to do the last 2 weeks, at times it hasn't looked pretty altogether, but we found a way to win, and that's the main goal. And that's a big key to that, Elliot, is knowing your guys and knowing what they do and what we need in certain situations and what we need to do to win that game in that particular day. And we found a way to do that. And so by no means are we a finished product. We need to keep getting better. That's our goal, is to keep getting better, play our best football by the end of the year. And there's steps to this, right? It's a process. And so I think that's where it's really shown.
We'll go to Jeff McClain and then Zach Berman.
Can Bob get you a tissue, Nick?
No, guys, I'm just itching my face. Go ahead.
That's not my question.
Oh, okay. Next question.
In light of Dallas Goedert's absence, you used a lot of 12 personnel. What went into the thinking there, and how'd you think Grant and Kyler blocked?
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. They both came out of the game. We thought they played, did their jobs and did their jobs well. Obviously, the production wasn't as high as maybe it will be when Dallas is in the game, but they did their assignment and they did it well. So every game calls for a little bit something different, based off of, you always want to get your best guys in the game, but sometimes you want to get different looks on the defense based off of how they play. And so, that's what went into that a little bit yesterday. And sometimes you get on the ball, after you run, a 12 personnel play and you're on the ball again. And so you locked into another play there. So just the flow of the game, the way that kind of went. But I thought they did a good job, Jeff. And I think there's a really good play of Kylan on the perimeter on a little swing pass to AJ Dillon. where he really held his block in space for a long time. And, you know, Grant was able to do that consistently throughout the game. And I thought, you know, there's a play in the red zone where, you know, I know we're talking about tight ends, but I'm talking about our fullback, Cam Latu, you know, has this hit on a slice play on the defensive end that, you know, would really help that run get us down to the 1 yard line, would ultimately led to us scoring. You know, it was good blocking all the way around there because it's muddy down there sometimes inside the, you know, in the red zone. But I thought those guys as a whole did a good job, you know. And I know you just asked offensively, but those guys did a really good job. You know, maybe Grant's job on special teams was diminished a little bit, you know, with him taking an extra step up on offense yesterday. But Kylan played a heck of a game on special teams, and so did Cam. You know, when guys are able to have an elevated role and they come in and they do their job, you know, that gives you more and more confidence in them. And, you know, it takes everybody's role. And Kylan playing the type of game he did on special teams helped us win that football game. And so that's why this is the greatest team sport there is. It takes everybody, offense, defense, special teams, practice squad guys, getting the guys ready, the whole building. That's why I love this game so much.
We'll go to Zach and then Bob Brookover.
Hey, good afternoon, Nick. With the benefit of watching film, do you think there's validity to the suggestion that you have early movement on the QB sneaks? And either way, the fact that it's become a discussion point, is it going to require some type of adjustment going forward?
I think that what the one clip I saw of it was slowed down so much that I'm not sure you can see that to the naked. I mean, it was slowed down so much, and I get how we can manipulate things and show things like that, but it was slowed down so much. It was like, right. But we have to be we understand that we have to be perfect on that play. And we'll keep working on being perfect on that play. You know, because I obviously, you know, someone shared that clip with me, and it's like, but, you know, again, can you see that in the naked eye, right? Well, there's things they do too on defense that sometimes you can't see to the naked eye all the time, or the refs can't see it also in that time to the naked eye. So you could do that with a lot of plays on football and slow it down. Like the referees have a hard job. They have to make split second decisions that are happening at this speed. And so sometimes it's like, you see that sometimes with like pass interference too. They slow it down where it's like really slow with the remote. You're like, well, yeah, this one, you can see that it might be on this. So, but we know we have to be perfect in that setting, and we'll work to get even better at the play and better with our timing. And I have no doubt that we have the right guys to be able to do it, and we will.
We'll go to Brookover and then Al Thompson.
Hey Nick, could you ever imagine that when you first started running the tush push that it would become what it's become? I mean, this weekend it's become the conversation. People are talking about, you know, maybe you couldn't even won the game if you didn't have the tush push. And do you see teams trying to do different things? I mean, they lined up off sides. We saw Washington get frustrated last year. And you worry about injuries at all in the whole thing?
Well, there hasn't been any injuries yet, but you know, so we feel like it's, you know, there's a lot of times they take space with the kickoff. They took the space out of the play to make it safer. Well, this is as tight as you possibly can be on a play here with the quarterback sneak. But I mean, I think it's an exciting play. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of discussion about it. And I think, you know, when you bring more discussion about a play, it brings more attention to football. It brings, you know, and so I think it's kind of a cool thing, obviously, that how much people debate it, how much people discuss it. You know, I'd be confident too in some of our other plays to run in that area. On those situations. But, you know, this play has been working well for us, so you keep going back to it. But there's alternatives too for us to be able to run that I think we'd be successful with, because the resources that we put into our offensive line and our quarterback and the guys that are making the play go. I think there's a beauty to it. I always think there's a beauty too, and like everyone knows what you're going to run, and you can still get I mean, isn't that football? You know, man, they know exactly what's coming, and they, you know, either can stop it or can't stop it, and it's about the guys out there, like the physicality of the play and the toughness of the play. And Chiefs did a good job with it yesterday. I you know, they made it really hard on us yesterday, but I think it brings you know, good attention to the game, and obviously I'm biased towards it, and you know, we'll just keep working to get better at it.
Thank you.
We have time for two more, so we'll go to Al and then finish with Bo.
Coach, you've always talked about how you want to develop good habits. You want your players to have good habits. Is the conservative play calling these first two games away? Is it part of the process of developing good habits and not turning the ball over? Obviously, you have not turned the ball over and you won both games.
Yeah, I think it always is going to come down to the ball. It's always going to come down to the ball. The team that wins the turnover battle a lot of the times wins the game. I mean, it's one of the highest stats there is out there. And so we take a lot of pride in how we protect it. We take a lot of pride in how we take it away. You know, whether that's how we catch it or how we strip at it, or the attempts that we get on the ball. And that, you know, sometimes on offense, it's not real sexy to say, you know, to be like, but it's the consistency of taking care of the football on a play-to-play, you know, basis there. So that consistency is huge in football. And so, you know, that's something we talk about an awful lot. We drill an awful lot. There's not a meeting that doesn't go by where we are not showing something from that. So, and the guys, you know, go out and execute it, and they put a lot of pride into it. So, yeah, it's always, we feel like it's always coming down to the ball, and that's why we preach it so much. But again, you know, conservative, whatever, however you said that, right? Like different games call for different plays to be run, and then also the way the defense plays dictates sometimes there. And so it's, you know, you're never trying to be risk adverse because you still got to create explosive plays. And so, you know, and that's where an area that we have to get better at.
Did you win the middle eight?
I'm sorry?
Did you win the middle eight?
I don't know what that is. I'm sorry.
Middle 8 minutes? I
Oh,
thought
the
you would.
middle 8 minutes. I don't know. I don't know yet.
I
We'll
think you
finish
did.
with Bo.
Nick, just as a smack talk appreciator, what did you make of Jalen's response to Chris Jones at the end of the game?
Who said I'm a smack talk appreciator?
Well, I think we can all infer.
Yeah, no, I don't know. They guys say stuff back and forth to each other on the field all the time. I don't try to get too involved in that.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you.
Nick Sirianni Live, presented by Premier Orthopedic.